we're going to be discussing or looking at just two things, right? One is we're going to look at the issue of power in negotiation, which is, of course, very important. And the second thing we're going to be looking at is the issue of what is known as persuasion. Maybe you have not heard of this word before. You have heard of persuasion, but whether you have heard of the word persuasion, and we will be looking at that as well and have a quick discussion about that. That's about it. So that was pretty short. The important thing, I think we should be able to finish what we need to do today, just to complete for today's session. I think well before, I don't know, 8:30, 9:30, maybe 9:45. So it should be good. So you'll still have your weekend. I'll try to save your weekend as much as possible. Okay, right. So if everybody's good, we can start, and so we can go on quickly. Let me just see. Oh yeah, and before we go on, I want to say that as far as the assignments are concerned, many of you have done interestingly well, right? Which is good. Many of you showed application, application meaning to say that you looked at, okay, what perception and cognition is, and then you applied it to the video as we discussed, and I've told you many times how to do it, and you did it, so that was good. Some were explaining the words without applying. Surprisingly, some didn't even apply to the video, and one person even applied to the wrong video. They gave it was a totally different. I just don't understand that part. You applied it to the wrong video. I lost for words. So anyway, it doesn't matter. Important thing is those who are doing well. So those of you who are doing good, you understand the importance of application. So if you're supposed to analyze a case, you must use the information and to analyze the case. You understand? You cannot be just talking about the theoretical or the subject matter and explaining it like a textbook. That won't help. Okay. So again, I'm very pleased to say that so many of you are doing good, and here's an opportunity for you to do even better in your assignment too. Why? Because I've already given you the guidance. Okay. Some students submit their assignments even before I can give the guidance. So when you do that, you take a big risk. If you get it right, good. If you don't get it right, I don't know. So some of the students who submit their assignment is very short. I'm not kidding you. It's like 1.5, 2 pages long. So you can see that the discussion is just not there. It's very brief. It's almost like they did it maybe in half an hour or something. I'm not sure. But whatever it is, then of course it gets reflected again in your marks. So you have to be very, how should I say, clever about it, in the sense that you know the word count, you know the subject matter, you have to apply, maximize it, take advantage, and try to put forward your best work, right? So you're there. So just keep up the good work. I think you guys will be fine. Right, Shamala is back with us again. Shamala. Ashkin is hi, how are you?
I'm good.
Right. Sharmila is here. Let me see. My good friend Tun Ismail is here. Christina, Roslinda.
Hi, sir. Morning.
Morning. Who else? I'm just trying to see the names. Lam is here. Fatin is here.
Morning, Prof.
Morning, Lam. Sharul is here. Dinesha. Linda Leong is here. Hi, Linda. How are you? Good. Marlena is here. Dinesha, some of you. Okay.
Morning, Prof.
Morning. Welcome. Right, guys. So I told you for this morning, as you know, I'm always to the point, and we try to get things done so that we can move on, so that you can work on your assignments and do everything. So essentially, the two things I told you, we're going to do one, a discussion on power in negotiations, and the second thing will be a short video that we will look at what the approach of persuasion is to negotiations and what can happen. Right? That one involves a discussion, so I hope you will participate in that one. That'll be very useful. Right. So right. Can you see finding and using negotiation power? Right. This is from the notes. It's quite straightforward. And so what do we mean by this? Okay, let's take a look, see. Just a few slides just to get an understanding. Right. Why is power important? Right. So somebody in one of my discussions was drawing the distinction between authority and power. Is it the same thing? Is it the same thing, authority and power? Anybody has any thoughts on that?
I think it's same.
Do you think it's the same? Well, you're not wrong. You're not wrong. But spelling is different. One thing. Secondly, the word authority goes towards legitimacy. Okay, more towards legitimacy. Okay, that means you have the authority because you are the CEO. You are authorized to decide on the reward or even punishment of your employees. Okay, you have the authority. And authority usually derives from somewhere. Authority comes from the chairman, from the stakeholders who have appointed you. Okay. Power is a broader term. Power, in my opinion anyway, it's a broader term, broader term. So power can be in many different contexts, many different contexts. Later you will see. So some people, even though they are not appointed, in a company, for example, they're also very powerful. Why? Because, well, could be that the boss always listens to them. They're very powerful, isn't it? Another example is the secretary of the managing director also have some power. Why? Because she can decide whether to give you an appointment or not. I say that because a long time ago, I always had to go and see the president of the company. And so you cannot go simply, you have to make an appointment to the secretary. And she's considered powerful because she takes a decision in terms of whether you get to see the president, when you get to see the president. So if she likes you and she can push you in, then you can see the president quicker. Or if not, you have to wait a few weeks sometimes. So because I understood that, I was always very good friends with her. So I can even go on the same morning and she will slip me in, within a few hours. She said, okay, this guy's coming out. The other guy is coming in. In between, I push you in. That's how you get in. So I'm sure maybe some of you have experienced that wherever you're working. Have you all experienced something like that? Where you need to see somebody and the secretary would decide, so getting along with people, these so-called powerful people in the sense of, so power can mean many different things in many different ways. The kings have powers, for example, certain powers, right? In the UK, in Malaysia, Commonwealth countries, the president, the king, even though they are not elected by the people, but they have certain powers because of the word conventions. Conventions dictate that, right? So yeah, because of historical reasons. Yeah, so you can see that. So some people will have, some people have less power and some people have more power, right? And sometimes the Power is a issue of perception. Perception means how you see things, right? How you see things, right? So if somebody maybe has a Tan Sri, then your perception is that this guy has a lot of power, he or she. Right? Somebody has a Dato or Dato Sri. Any Dato Sri, by the way, in this class. No Dato in this class. I say. All
Belum
very.
dapat cucu lagi.
Belum, itulah dia. So bad. So bad, so jealous. Dah cucu. Betul. It's true. But it'd be surprising, some of the people who get this title, sometimes it makes you wonder. I'm sure you've read about these things. But anyway, yeah, so situational, it can be situational, like power used to dominate, power used to work together with people, right? Different situation, right? Sometimes when two parties are together, then they are more powerful, for example, right? Oftentimes you find that political parties, they always come together so that they can increase their power, maybe, right? So yeah, so many ways of looking at it. It's quite straightforward. You can't know that. How people acquire power. Power can come in many forms. Power can come, people always say, if you probably heard this term called knowledge is power. Is it? Knowledge is power. So you have knowledge, you have power. Right? Personal sources of power, power based on organization, relationship power, I told you about that, contextual sources. So power comes from different places. Power can mean different things, right? But certainly in negotiation, you want to be powerful, or you want to be seen at least as powerful. So sometimes people want to have a negotiation, then they invite you to their office. Why? Because they've got a big building and they've got a really posh and professional looking boardroom in which to discuss. What are they trying to do? They're trying to show their power, their strength, their organization, isn't it? So, so like, like me, I don't have that sort of place. So my meetings with my consulting clients always be in some restaurant somewhere. So, what is my power then? My power is my consulting experience. That's my power. Knowledge, understanding of certain issues, and experience of that. Maybe to some extent, that's some power. Some of you are in a certain field, so everybody has to go to you for that. You have that power, isn't it? So you may think that you have no power, but all of you here, every one of you have some power. Okay. So I want to ask the question. Okay. Lam, what is your power?
My power, I got no power at this moment.
You see, Lam is very modest, He say he got no power, but actually he has. Surely he must have some power. Right? Lam, are you, for example, do you have a family? You got kids or married or something?
Yes. I
You
got
have
family,
children?
yeah.
So, Lam, you have power over your children, what? You decide what? How old are your kids?
5 and 10.
Definitely you have. Lam, come on. You have power over your kids. You decide what they do and all that, isn't it? Don't you?
Yeah.
Yeah, which playground they go and play, you decide. Your kid wants to go and play when it's raining outside. You will say no. You have the power. Isn't it?
I can say yes, I can play with them together.
Yeah. Yeah, but if in the rain, if you say no, then it's no. If you say yes, then it's yes. So you have the power. The only thing makes you say just now when I asked you the question, you have no power Lam, is because you're married. You have no power over your wife because she's going to tell you what to do.
Yeah, I think she got more power. I'm just got authority.
Well, you have authority, she has power.
Yes. Is it right?
Of course, it's right because power is more powerful. Power comes from personal sources, from her sense of what's right and wrong, right? You have authority because you think you're the head of the household. You think, just like me, Lam.
Yes. Fully
So,
understand.
so basically what I'm trying to say is, guys, I'm just joking now, but essentially it's that all of us have some power in some way. Maybe small, maybe large, maybe growing. Right? So this is how. So power is more broad-based. Authority is something that comes as a result of something, you know, and can mean many things, right? So, uh, so information is a source of power, very definitely for sure, right? If I told you before, if you go and negotiate, you gotta have knowledge. I am telling you, knowledge will trump everything. Knowledge is power. If you have the knowledge, you're going to buy a house, you're going to buy a building, you negotiate for some contracts. Your knowledge can win the argument, right? But if your knowledge is weak, it's very not so good. But another thing, personally, knowledge is one thing, but ability to think on your feet. When I say the ability to think on your feet, meaning to say when you go for the meeting, yeah, you know a lot of things you've done because you say, oh, sir said we have to get a lot of information before we negotiate. Okay, you got all that. But the X factor is when you're sitting in front of somebody, eyeball to eyeball, and the person brings up something which you have not planned for. And usually that will be the case, right? Now you have to think on your feet. Then you have to decide. So that's the other factor in negotiation. So, and what goes into that factor is your personality. Because all of us are human beings. We have bones and blood and flesh and emotions. Your personality comes in as well. Yeah. Right. So there you go. Right. So this is how, over and above what the book is saying, I believe that also applies. Right. The ability to let's say if you are a negotiator and the negotiation is not going so well and people are getting a bit annoyed, can you diffuse the situation? Can you make people laugh so that people are more relaxed, so that they don't escalate the conflict? We all did that in the assignment, escalation of conflict. How do you do that? Right? Because you don't know how to de-escalate the conflict. It'll become bad. Negotiation would not work. So I'm sure many of you have gone through this, isn't it? So de-escalating, right? And at the same time,
require experience, Prof.
yeah,
That one require very experienced people, right?
yeah, experienced people. But I have seen some young people also, to be fair, be able to do that. It's like almost like an aptitude for negotiation. But generally, you're absolutely correct. There's one guy. This guy, he's an actual tune. I won't mention who lah, and it's easy to know in Malaysia because there are many. But this, I should share this because this is the learning. This tuna, he's a very experienced man, needless to say. But here, when he is annoyed with his staff, ask them to do something, and then they make a mistake, a silly thing, and he will admonish them. He will say, "Hey, this and that, how come, how come, how come?" But towards the end, he will turn it into a funny thing. He will make the person laugh. Yeah, he said, yeah, you can do it. This is how. And so he will say something that will make the person laugh. So it ends well. Yeah, he's told you, but it ends well. Damn cool. It is really his emotion, the Tun's emotion, very steady, very steady. He knows exactly how he's controlling what he's doing. And you're right.
Why
Okay.
don't?
That comes from his experience. very good learning. I have had the privilege. I remember, if I may share, guys, because I think this is the real learning, and this is another one that I have had the privilege when I was in my early 20s, and I think 22, 23. I worked in a company where the boss, the owner, was the ex-general of the Malaysian Army, right? So he was Tan Sri something something, and he was retired. I was working in the company, and then, as usual, I was the records officer, so-called. And those days, a lot of things are manual. Computers was not so available, and and I did well. Eventually, they put two other girls under me who were assisting in the recordings and so on. And recording as in keeping records, not singing songs. We're not sure, they'll ask me. So I as usual, myself, I have this a bit of a creative streak, so I always try to take some shortcut to make it faster, easier, whatever. Then the Tan Sri noticed that. So and I was taking too much of a shortcut. So the Tan Sri invited me in to his office. I still remember his wife. His wife's name was Pon Sri Ramona. She was actually a foreign national, I think, from Europe or somewhere. Very nice lady. And so Tan Sri said, Roland, this. Then he said, you're taking that shortcut. That shouldn't be, because you'll be doing this. But he never, he's not like he's a ex-general of the army. He never raised his voice, And I'm a small young guy there. And I never felt afraid in front of him also because of his approach, I don't feel fear at all. Because in later years, when I worked with other small nonsense fellows, I felt fearful. And this guy, he's the general of the army, ex-general of the army. He's a Tan Sri, but he made me feel so comfortable. But he said this, guys, it's so crazy, Instead of admonishing me or scolding me or whatever, no. He said, rules like this, if you want to take a decision to do something, sometimes, not to say the way that you are doing is wrong, but there are two ways to do it. He said, when there are two ways to do it, the more difficult way is the right way. So he said, when you have to make a decision, the more difficult way is the right way. And that's it. That's all he said. In other words, he's encouraging me to think, He's encouraging me to think, which is more powerful than telling me what to do. See, that's class. That is first class teaching, first class learning. The doctor said, if you have to make a decision between two things, chances are the more difficult thing is the right thing to do. So, and I have used that all my life, and it's worked well for me. So, for example, let's say Shyamala, after this class, has a choice, right? She can go back to bed, have a snooze, nothing wrong. If you're tired, you sleep, nothing wrong, right? Nothing wrong. Or she can say, no, I put in another 2 hours, work on my assignment, which is also good. But which should you do?
Prof, that is what exactly I was thinking.
I can read your thoughts. So, but my point is, if Shyamala decides to say she's tired, maybe she go and sleep, nothing wrong. It's fine. Why not? If Shyamala decides to do her assignment, work a bit more because she's already had the class, so her mind's already working, at least spend 1, 2 hours, then she goes to sleep. Which should she do? This is a tough one, right? What should Shyamala do? Now, if you follow Tan Sri's advice, as I would, you know what I would do? I would ask myself the question, as Shamla should too, which is more difficult? If I go and lie down sleep, or if I go and do my work? Chances are, Shamla said, at this point, the more difficult thing is to sit down and then work on it for another 2 hours on the assignment. What decision should she take? Shamala, what decision should you take?
Probably I'll take a short nap to energize my
No, that's not what I'm asking. I'm asking based on what,
Doing the assignment, Prof.
huh? Tawa,
Probably, yeah, probably she should do the assignment because the brain is already working and she don't need to start up again. Oh no, okay.
see, this is where the application comes in. What did Tan Sri say? Tan Sri said, when you have to take a decision between two things, the more difficult thing is the right way to go. Try to understand this, guys. If you have to make a decision between two things, the chances are both are correct. Both are correct. But which should you take? Chances are the more difficult thing is the right thing to do. So the understanding, the process of your thinking should be like this. I want to go and sleep because I feel, I didn't get enough sleep. At the same time, I should maybe also do my assignment. Which should I do first? Which should I do? So you must ask yourself, between the two right now, which is more difficult to do? Chances are, difficult is assignment kan? Betul. The assignment is difficult. The sleeping is a little bit easier lah. Go and sleep. So in order for you to decide, you will go for assignment. Betul tak? You will go for assignment. That's what.
But
Hmm.
Prof, in reality, I think before either I wanted to sleep or doing my assignment, I'll be watching my handphone rather than I do both of it.
Then that one, no one can help you lah. That one, what to do? You make that's normal for my students, all making bad decisions. Sorry, no, that's not the point. You see the wisdom. You see the wisdom of Tan Sri is lost. You're losing it lah. The wisdom of Tan Sri is the mind constantly rationalizes. But if you weigh now the consequences of this decision making, if Shamla said, okay, both I can do, but the more difficult thing is to sit down and do the assignment again, susah. But she says, oh, but Tan Sri said that the susah one is the correct one. She go and do the assignment. Now, what happens when she does the assignment? She took 2 hours, she did the assignment. Hey, guess what? She more or less completed it. She completed it. Now, what are the extended consequences? Then she go and sleep or whatever. Then in the evening, we know what happened. One relative was sick. They had to go and visit the person. So they went. So she had no more time to do assignment. But hey, hold on. She did it just now. So she's busy, right? Something came up. Right? And the next day, suddenly maybe she's not well. But has she done the assignment? She's done. So you see, the decision making is so fine. It's so fine. You understand now? I'm not sure. I get a bit worried when you all reply to me this way. It's like you're not getting what Tan Sri is saying. It's so powerful, guys. If you can understand, you will realize
maybe,
how. Salim, yeah, Salmi?
maybe what he meant to say is that usually the difficult way is the right way, because by going through the difficult way, we learn from our mistake and we learn something from it. I think that is what he tried to say.
Yeah. Whether you learn something up from it, yeah, of course, that's the other things that happen. But the point is, at the point, at the cusp, at the beginning of deciding, all of us are faced with this. I tell you, I have used Tan Sri's one. I tell you, it's amazing. I tell you a good example. I come back from class, right? Sometimes I come back towards the evening, 5 o'clock. I'm feeling a bit tired. What should I do? Should I just take a shower and relax? Or shall I just put on my shoes, go for a run? Relax, senang lah, mandi, just relax a bit. put on my shoe, go for half an hour, 45-minute run. And every time I take the difficult one, because the difficult one, and after that run, I'm much better off. Much better off. Right? It's very powerful. I share this with you. If you can appreciate what this guy, don't forget he's an ex-general. He's got loads of experience, right? Super smart. And his name is actually Hishamuddin. Not the current politician, but this is an old-time general. So amazing, just amazing, guys. So try to understand what I'm trying to say. Try to understand what Tan Sri is saying, what he means. So the decision making becomes super important, right? If you learn anything this morning, if you learn that, I tell you, I in a sense I've been lucky, and more important than luck is that I was able to, even at that young age, I was able to understand what he was trying to say. And note, at the end of the conversation, he never go and tell me what to do. He never say, "Oh, sekarang you kena buat macam ni." He never say like that. He just tell me only. That, my friend, is very classy. That is called a class act. You understand? People who come and scold you, I'm a boss. Oh, Shamala, you must do this. Shamala, you know, you're doing all this wrong. Oh. That's it. But if somebody comes there and uses that opportunity to teach you and make you feel good and inspires you, that, my friend, that is called champagne. The difference. Anyway, hopefully you learn from that. So anyway, so information. So also personalities, cognitive orientation, the way you think, your motivation can denote power. Sometimes you negotiate very hard because the survival of your company depends on it. Your motivation, okay, can make you, forces you sometimes, you know. If you bothered to watch the video that I showed you about Margaret Neal, what does she say? When I negotiate for my sheep, my horses, my children, my this, my that. If you watch what that professor said, it's really cool. All right. Moral orientation, sometimes because you feel that this is important, this is right, they're taking a moralistic standpoint. So many different ways that people might negotiate, okay? Just now we talked about legitimate power, right? And then I'm sure maybe some people have a tendency to say this, oh, you know, I don't respect the person, but I respect the chair. You know, things like that. That means they are looking at the authority of the person. Sometimes they say things like that. That's what they mean. Right? Power based on the control of resources. So if somebody handles the resources, they will have a lot of power, even though they may not be, their title may not be that. Okay. Legitimacy and so on. Sometimes people can, how do I say, resource controlling, of course. Like I told you, the secretary controls the timing. Many different people in organizations control different things. Okay. Government is very powerful because government controls resources. Your electricity, for example, they decide on the rates. This is controlling the resources. So you can see where power comes from, guys. Sources of power, of course, money, certainly one of those things, supplies, human capital, time, all of these things right now. That is why a lot of times some people, even though they have a lot of money, they may have the money, but they don't have power. So they go and join government, become an MP, right? Become prime minister, become whatever. In all countries, it's like that. Right now, you find a big businessman who's a multi-billionaire, and then he goes and joins the government because he wants to make decisions. He wants power, right? So it's that sort of thing, right? So it's very, how should I say, very infectious. Power is very infectious, right? It's a human thing. Goal interdependence. Yeah, if you depend on each other, if I depend on you, then you have the power, isn't it? So reference power. Sometimes, like last time when we were selling software to large banks, if you go to the bank and you go and say, hey, look, would you like to use my software? The first thing the bank will say is, who else is using this? Isn't it? The bank will ask, siapa lagi pakai ni? Which company uses this? Why? They want to know whether this product can work or not. So in our case, when we were at Anderson, we go to the company, they say, who else using? Yeah, we say the bank, Chicago Bank, right? The bank in Boston, they are using this software. Then he'll also ask you, any local banks using? Then you say, no lah. Then they get worried. They say, yeah, that's US. But here, has it been adapted for the Malaysian market? So what sometimes people do, and what we used to do, we should say, look, this is going to be the first one, but what we can do is we give you a discount, plus we give you a guarantee and backup support services for X amount of time. So you're getting it cheaper, you may be the first one, but you're getting it cheaper, plus other banks internationally have used it, right? So reference power, that's called reference power. That means I'm using a reference. I say, oh, if the Bank of Chicago is using or the Bank of America is using, then you can use it as well. And so sometimes people do that now, you know, and explain that. So it's quite useful actually. Networks, of course, right? Networks, using networks to achieve something because you know somebody and so you can get things done, right? Networks are very, very important, as you know who you're working with, right? And so on, gives you some kind of power. Right, so organizational hierarchy, well, supposedly the guy on top is powerful. You know, sometimes the guy right on top here, the top one is supposedly powerful. Right? But it could well be that the guy down here or the guy down here is equally powerful, if not more. Why? Because this guy, if this guy happens to be the son of the owner, right or not? If the guy right at the bottom is the owner's son, even though he's working there, is he powerful? What do you think?
Yes,
Shaiful, more powerful than the CEO again.
exactly. Yeah, bro.
See, Shaiful knows. Because Shaiful is the owner's son. Good place to be, Shaiful. Bagus kan. You work in a company, then somebody get angry with Shaiful. Apa ini? Think your father's company? Shaiful said, yeah, it is.
From the top people just sign off the document. Those prepare the document is down there, right?
No, kalau orang marah sama you, kata, bapak punya company kan ni? They said, yeah, memang. And you will say that. It's so funny lah, but anyway, it's true lah. Yeah. It's too funny. But yeah, so guys, I think you know lah. Those of you with some experience, I think you know what I'm talking about lah, you know. And those of you who are just starting, you can see how this works and it'll give you a leg up, right? An advantage as it were. Different organizations have different, the organization may look like just now the structure, but actually inside the organization is like this. One person is the gatekeeper, maybe that's the secretary, right? The linking pin, one person is the person you need to talk to in order to get somebody else involved, you know. And the understanding this is sangat penting because one of the ways that I got things done, and I got a lot of things done, trust me, before a board meeting, I would individually meet up with all the separate board members. Because if I'm going to put up a proposal or something that I want to get done, I will not go and do the board meeting and just say, okay, this is it. Guys, can we discuss? Can we agree on this? You will definitely get knocked off. I would go and separately, either directly or indirectly, meet the separate board members for different things and then raise this issue and debate this issue with each of them till I can explain to them why this is important. Then they agree. Let's say out of, say, 10 people, I get 7 people to agree, right? Maybe I don't have time to meet the other 3 or can't. Then in the board meeting, the consensus is easy because the argument has already been made out, right? But that's a different level. In a different class, maybe I will talk more about that and teach you how to do it. It's quite interesting and it's highly workable. All right. the strength of your relationship, right? What is your relationship with other people? Is it strong? Is it weak? Right? Some people call it the emotional bank account. Emotional bank account are you bankrupt or are you full? What does that mean? Right? Your emotional bank account. So let's say, for example, I work with Shaiful, right? So whenever I have to, Shaiful ask for some assistance, I help him. Certain times I'm very nice to him. I meet him and say, hey, Shaiful, how are you doing today? You okay? Things like that. So I'm building it. I'm building that relationship, that emotional bank account. And I assist him. I didn't ask for any favors. Then I go to Jane. Jane also same. I say, hey Jane, you okay? I heard your mom's not well. I give you the contact for the doctor. You see her lah. Just try lah. Maybe I think this guy is quite good. And then it works for her. I didn't ask for anything. Then I go to Dinesha. I say, hey Dinesha, I know you're having these issues and all that. Here's my suggestion. And if I can do anything, let me know. Even though she didn't come back to ask me for anything, but what did I show? I showed empathy, right? I start doing all these things. If you start doing all these things, what happened? Your emotional bank account is full. Right now, then tomorrow you ask for something. Look, hey guys, I need your cooperation. I need your assistance because this project is a bit challenging. I also need your input, your sincere input, so that we can make sure that this works. It's important for the company. Now, if I am like that, what will happen? What do you think will happen? Anybody? So, well, you think about it. You think about it. Participation is very important, guys. If not, you will get only so little from me. Aspects of network structure: centrality, criticality, flexibility, right? Relationships, right? Making sure you attend things, right? Be available, be visible, right? Joining in, right? So a lot of people I know don't join anything. They don't go for anything. You invite them for something, they don't come, right? Because they think they don't need to. This is all very weak networking, So other people are different. They bother to dress up, they bother to fix the appointment, they bother to go, and that makes a difference. So that is why, guys, actually, in Malaysia especially, I think it's very easy to succeed. Very easy to succeed. Why? Because generally people don't know how to do this, or how should I say, berat tulang. Maybe that's another word. They are berat tulang. They won't attend. They won't take the trouble. They won't dress up and go for something, dress appropriately. They don't do that in Malaysia. So if you do that, I tell you, you stand up. Easy. In Malaysia, it's very easy. Because I can tell you, and you look around you, 98% of people don't do that. Or even if they do that, they do it grudgingly. So to succeed actually is super easy. Easier than you think. All right. Of course, contextual sources, your BATNA. Remember BATNA, right? Your alternatives. If you have many alternatives, well, you have the power. Right? You can walk away. Your BATNA is high. Okay. Culture, right? Certain, you come from a culture where you always strive to succeed. But some people are too laid back. Negotiation, if you lose also, never mind. How? So you background, right? So a lot of different things come into play, right? So the last bit, guys, is dealing with others who have more power. See, sometimes if you have more power, okay, good. But oftentimes you are dealing with people who have more power in terms of resources, in terms of decision making and everything. So when you deal with them, you must never do a all or nothing deal. That means, what does that mean? You cannot go and discuss with somebody when you need something to say, take it or leave it. You cannot say that. You cannot go and say, look, it's up to you. If you don't want it, fine. Never mind. It's okay. Can you say that? Can't, isn't it? Because then, because it's a negotiation, it's because you want something. Then nothing's going to happen. So that's not a good idea, because the other party will say, oh, well, okay, fine. You know, right? The other party will say, you need me, not me needing you, right? Don't make the other party smaller. Don't say things that are negative towards the other party, right? Don't simply make yourself appear more bigger than you are, right? And if you want to have that advantage, you build it slowly, step by step in the negotiation, right? The other thing is, in order to make yourself look a little bit more powerful, you can say that, yes, we are dealing with you, but there are a lot of competitors out there who are also out to compete with you. If you and me work together, there's one less competitor for you. Yes, even though we are small, but there's one less competitor and we become part of your alliance. That's one way to look at it. Okay. So yeah, so this logic, like constrain yourself, control yourself. Good information, of course. Asking questions we don't know, ask, nothing wrong, and manage the process. So that's I think that's the last slide we have on this thing here. Finding and using. Yeah,
Oh,
sorry.
Sorry, bro. Actually, you know, right, when I learned from you this negotiation and bargaining, right, it's very applicable for me. If I learn this back days, right, I think I'll be more successful, especially during a T-census negotiation, where I got an experience before working with US-based company, but located in Malaysia. So as a project manager, they put me in power to negotiate the terms and conditions with the big guy in Malaysia. It's a resource company in Malaysia. So we just a technical people, right? But we need to deal with, since we are the project manager, terms and condition, and after that we go back to our legal counsel based in States, right? Blah 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 blah, and get back to the customer. Hey, can we agree this and that, right? They're very tough negotiations, but at the end I learned a lot. Now I think in a way just like a lawyer now, I know certain terminology, the force majeure, all these like LD things like that, right? Yeah, so that would be fantastic. But what the key things that I think getting from you, I think very much appreciated. Plus, I'm running on my own right now, right? So we need to be very careful in terms of T's and C's. Thanks, bro.
Yeah. Yeah, terms and conditions, absolutely. But be careful, because just because a person is a lawyer doesn't mean he's a good negotiator. Because what we are learning here is one, okay, terms and conditions is one, contractual, all that is the legalities. Okay, good to know as well. But a little bit more than that is the things I believe that, at least for me, I think, is preparation. You know, my problem last time was when I go for a negotiation, I just go in. You know, so the preparation part, the planning part is very important. Thinking about it, reflecting upon it, and also having that empathy. You know, understanding where the other party is coming from. That one is also very useful. All right, but certainly, this subject matter, all of you, I'm talking about all of you, can actually use it immediately, you know, and it's worth learning. So if you put in some effort into this subject matter, it's not about getting the grade lah. Grade is senang aja, but to lifelong skills lah. Wow, can you imagine? You know, going out there and the way you approach something when you compare to another person is big difference, big difference. You know, so like for example, a simple example is me and my wife go for some discussion or negotiation. Her approach and mine is like worlds apart, you know, right? Not to say anything wrong, but it's just that you did not go through the steps, you know, understanding, hey, this is what we should do. What is your bad now? How should you approach it? So you find that in your next assignment, it's like that. It's that whole negotiation strategy, right? But normally in personal things, okay, you can plan and it's a little bit simple. But like what Shaiful is saying, actually, in large discussion, especially two different countries, that's really hard, because you've got culture going on there, culture going on here, terms here, local conditions here, and then on top of that, the technical aspects. Wow, that's a lot, right? And it takes time to learn and to improve. But if you get involved in it, and even if you make some mistakes, my goodness, it's you are still the winner, because at the end of the day, you're learning. You've learned from it, isn't it? So thanks for sharing that, Shaiful. Very good. And it's just added on to our discussion, what you have just said about how multi-dimensional the whole thing can be and may not be simple, especially in B2B. It's never simple. I tell you, guys, one thing I share with you, my personal opinion, some of the most difficult people to negotiate are in certain countries like India and even China. Very challenging to negotiate with them. Why? I tell you why. I'm not saying all generally, but this is my experience. The guys in India, they are so, how should I say, not to say use the word aggressive, but they are too sharp. One of the things they will say, after negotiating for many sessions, and the next negotiation they're coming, now they say, look, I want you to sharpen your pencil because you're going to take a haircut. It tells you that, and he's looking at the minute details of everything, and he's negotiating every point. So you better be mentally ready. If you're not, you're dead in the water. Why do these people negotiate like that? Why are they so, ferocious in the negotiation? How come? Why? Compared to the American or the British, why? I'll tell you why. When you live in a country with 1.3 billion people, when you walk the streets of Mumbai, and as you walk, you can see on the road pavement, people are there dying as you speak. People have no food as you speak. It's everywhere. You better work hard. You better work hard, because if not, one way or the other, you could be there as well. You better move faster. You better think faster. So he will say, Roland, you need to sharpen your pencil and be ready to take a haircut. This is B2B. B2B, tak ada perasaan, It's just business, It's just technical business. Very, very, very tough. Same like China as well. Countries like this, generally these big countries, that's what I found. There's no comfort zone. It's do or die kind of thing, which I've not seen here locally. I don't sense that. People are a little bit more cool. So if some of you may have dealing with partners out of India or people out of China or maybe even other countries, you will notice that very fierce, very, very fierce. You look at a Bangladeshi here in Malaysia, good example. Maybe some of you may think Bangladeshi is nothing. No, the guy is here, the gardener, he can speak Bahasa, he can negotiate, he knows how to get your business. If you see how he negotiates. Now, why does the Bangladeshi work so hard and negotiate so hard? He negotiates harder, but to make you comfortable, you notice, he makes you comfortable. He will, to get the job, he said, I do lah. You pay me whatever you want. I do. Pay me, but basically he's getting his step in. He wants to get a step in, that's it. And after that, he's having the project. He's working that way. So gutsy. Gutsy is the word. Because if you go to YouTube and you look at Bangladesh, there was one series where they cut bamboo to sell from the forest. And Bangladesh is a big country, mostly surrounded by water. They cut the thing, there's no transport, nothing. They put the bamboo on the water, tons of it, and they push it along. The work is so hard. It's so hard. Food is so little. And they push it all the way and go through so much trouble to bring it to the city. You look at that, and you look at him being a gardener here, painter, construction worker, it's nothing. It's heaven. And he knows that if he doesn't do a good job, that is what awaits him. So the question I ask you is, what awaits you? Do you have the sense of urgency? If you're a Malaysian, probably not. And especially like my cousins, same. No sense of urgency. Right? No sense. The gutsiness is not there. Not sharp, not sharp. So I think so the culture thing of where you come from is very important. So we need to change that. We can by learning this, and in this class, hopefully you're getting some points and learning from it. But like I said before, in any class, participation is important. If you don't participate, then there's nothing that in some of my other classes, my discussion is much longer. In some classes, my discussion is very short because there's no question. So I don't know what else to say. So that's how it works. So anyway, guys, now that we've done that, and hopefully you've learned, and I want to thank Shaiful for sharing that, because when Shaiful shared that, suddenly I can get a lot more ideas and information as to what how you're thinking about it, right? And then there are other intangibles in discussion. Face. There's a term for it, especially in China and all that. It's an issue of face. You know, how they negotiate is different, right? So if you don't understand the Chinese culture of this negotiation and what is important for them, it's very hard. I know about the China and India because there are books that are written on it, but about the Philippines, for example, I don't know as much. How they see it, how their approach is. Each culture will be different, can to some extent now, you know, as you go along. Right, so guys, hopefully that's been good learning. So if are there any other questions? Anybody has anything to add? If there are no questions, then we will go on to the video that I want to share with you. I want you, look, if you're going to get anything from this class, you're going to have to listen carefully to the video and try and understand it, right? And then we can have a quick chat about it. And that's the last part, guys. That's the last part, right? So can you see, guys?
Can, Prof. Can.
Can.
Thank you. Thanks, Dal.
Of persuasion.
Persuasion, betul. Okay, guys, just listen. Relax, take a deep breath. Jaiza, take a deep breath. Just relax, don't think about anything. Watch the video,
Okay.
and listen carefully, and all of you try your best to understand. Then we'll have a short discussion about it. And if you can't hear the voice or the sound, anything, just let me know. Sometimes
persuasion and how there are ways to influence the thinking of potential.
can you hear
Yep.
the sound?
Yes, Prof.
Can,
Thank
Prof.
you. Thank you. Okay, here goes.
Now, the power of persuasion and how there are ways to influence the thinking of potential consumers. Paul Salmon brings us his latest Making Sense, which airs Thursdays.
I've heard it said that the most valuable thing in today's world, post-industrial world, is the human being's attention and how to get it. Is that true? I believe that. Psychology professor Robert Cialdini, marketing maven, art enthusiast, palm reader. I used to be a palm reader, and I learned the trick that they used to make people say they're right almost always. So what was the trick? In the 80s, Cialdini wrote an attention-getting classic, Influence, the Psychology of Persuasion, intended to arm consumers against manipulative marketers. But those who made the book famous were the persuaders themselves, who make a living beckoning us every step we take. Those ads, those signs, that's old school persuasion, directing people's minds to the content. In recent years, however, Cialdini has made a new discovery about how to spin friends and influence people. What I'm talking about is persuasion, directing their minds to the moment before they experience the content. Yes, persuasion, the title of his new book. Persuasion is the practice of getting people sympathetic to your message before they experience it, before they even hear it, you mean. It is what you say immediately before you deliver your message that leverages your success tremendously. Or if you are the messagee, that plays you like a puppet. The best salesman I ever saw told people, I left something in the car. Can I get your key to let myself back in? I have an acquaintance who claims he got 3 great jobs
by saying something before he began the job interview in each instance. And I have a friend who's a consultant who says he never gets pushback on the price he offers for his services if he says one thing first.
And persuasion demonstrably works, as we'll try to demonstrate throughout this story, by prepping the mind for the message subliminally.
There's this interesting study. A guy goes to a shopping mall in France, and he tries to get women's phone numbers as they pass various shops so he could call for a date. One of them is a shoe store, and another was a bakery. But in neither of those cases was he very successful. He only got a number 13% of the time. But there was one kind of shop that doubled his success rate when women were passing it, a flower shop. Why? Because flowers put women in a mindset of romance.
Not consciously, persuasively, by exploiting a rule of thumb passed down to us by evolution.
If we are paying attention to something, it's important. That's how we decide to pay attention. But a communicator can reroute our attention to something that isn't important, but make it seem important as a consequence.
As a consequence of the very fact that we're subconsciously paying attention to it.
There's a study that shows that people who were asked their political opinions when there was a picture of the American flag in the corner of the questionnaire reported more favorable attitudes toward Republican Party positions, because the flag is typically associated in people's minds with a Republican belief set.
As are churches, and studies show that persuasive cues can subconsciously affect actual voting.
If people vote at a polling place inside a church, they vote more Republican. If they vote at a polling place inside a school, they vote more Democrat.
Now, marketers, or at least some of them, have studied persuasion's potency. One online furniture store tested images of fluffy clouds versus cold hard cash on its homepage.
Those who saw the background depiction of clouds searched the site for more comfortable furniture. Those who went to the site that had money in the background became cost conscious and preferred to purchase less expensive furniture.
Isn't it obvious that our consciousness is being affected by what our perceptive apparatus?
Almost no one recognizes that the clouds or the coins had any impact on their behavior, and yet it did at significant levels. It's the cue that drives you in the direction of what seems more important now because you're focused on.
Which is why we flashed the thinker at the top of this story, to persuade you to ponder the puzzles we posed at the outset, but never answered. What was the trick of the salesman, the job seeker, the pricey consultant?
In each instance, they did something first.
Starting with the salesman who claimed he'd forgotten something in his car.
He created a sense of trust, because who do you let back into your house by giving them your key except someone you trust?
And that made people more likely to buy what he was selling?
Yes, because he had created a mindset in them that they were dealing with a trustworthy character.
And the guy got the jobs?
Before every interview, he asked the interviewers, why did you bring me in today? What was it about my qualifications that made you attracted to my candidacy?
And what does that do?
It caused people to start focusing on the positive aspects of his case before they even began discussing it.
And the consultant who never got pushed back on his fees?
He would show prospects his proposal and his $75,000 fee, and he would say, as you can tell, I won't be able to charge you $1 million for this.
And what does that do?
Compared to $1 million, $75,000 now seems trivial.
And why did Cialdini urge us to leave this story with puzzles?
One way to get persuasive attention to your case is to begin with a mystery story. Mysteries cause people to want to understand, to get closure, which cause them, I hope, to want to stay with the programming and listen till the end.
So read my book.
No. Paul, I can see that you're a stubborn man.
Someone's stubborn.
What I've done is to send you down a memory track where you would encounter times when you were stubborn, and you would look at me and say, that's right.
And that's the whole deal?
No, suppose I looked at your palm and saw the same thing, but said, you're a very flexible man. Now I've sent you down a memory track where you would encounter times when you were flexible. And you would say to me, that's right, that's who I am.
Well, it might not be quite that histrionic, but I think I would say, yeah, flexible.
And I've even done that with a person at a party. Read his palm, told him he was stubborn at the beginning, told him that he was a flexible guy at the end, and he said, you're right both times.
But hey, making sense is supposed to be the NewsHour's weekly economics segment. So economics, as it's taught and practiced, is based on the notion of rational maximization.
Correct.
This is not rational maximization.
No, what new psychology suggests, it's the factor that is top of consciousness at the moment before you make that economic decision that will win the game.
And so from Midtown Manhattan, reporting stubbornly yet flexibly, this is economics correspondent Paul Salman.
Now we know.
Right. So there you have it, guys. There you have it. Persuasion. Does that make sense to you?
Yes, Prof.
You see, it's a very interesting word because it's not persuasion, it's persuasion. It means saying something ahead to cause your mindset to work a certain way. So in negotiation as well, you find that it's very useful if you can do that, isn't it? A good example is in a job interview, and some of you may be going for a job interview. Shamla, your next job interview, here's what you do. You ask the question. When you come in, you ask them the question. So what is it about me that, caused you all to shortlist me? What happens? You're forcing them, or you're causing them, I would say forcing, but causing them to think about all the positive things about you. And you're highlighting all your positive things. Is that a good idea? It'll help you to get the job, isn't it? I know. Put you in a more positive light.
Yes,
Right.
Prof.
So are you going to try that?
Definitely.
Oh man, you're going to trick all the HR people.
As long as they don't kick me out.
They won't kick you out. How can they kick you out? No, in fact, at the end of the day, they'll be so impressed because you ask the right questions. You take a very nice approach. And you said, but why did you pick me? Then they start to say, oh, because you are so qualified. You studied under Dr. Roland, we heard, so that's a very good point. And then you attended the MBA at Uniraza. I hope so. I don't think they'll say that, but yeah. So persuasion is very powerful. So what they have said, right? And people have a tendency. I'll give you a simple example. Let's say I ask, hey, Tama, I think I heard you want to buy a new car. Then Tama said, yeah. Tama, what car are you planning to buy? Well, I'm thinking about buying I don't know what car. What car do you want to buy?
BMW, Prof. That's what I cannot buy now.
Okay, a BMW. Let's say
Yeah.
a BMW 5 Series. Can we say 5 Series?
Yeah, can.
Can, so
As long
hey,
as it's a BMW.
so I was thinking, I want to buy a BMW, and I prefer the 5 Series especially, I think it's really nice, or whatever, the new one now. By the way, are you buying all electric or are you buying PHEV?
Which one is better, Prof?
In my opinion, and some of you may disagree, I think a PHEV is better. I'll tell you why. Because a PHEV has got both. You can charge it as well, and also it just takes gas. Because if you drive, let's say, I have a PHEV, by the way. If you drive to, let's say, to Johor, you find that if it's all electric, I think most of them are 400, 500 kilometers. Some of them say, oh, it's 500 kilometers, so it's enough. Yes, it's enough. But the problem here, Nawa, is that when you're heading towards Johor, when you're getting near, already in your mind, you start thinking, where am I going to
Where to charge?
where to charge? Yeah, you begin to, and then there's a lot of anxiety, And based on my experience, right now we don't have that many charging stations. That's one. Secondly, it takes a long time. You know, for example, me, in order for me to charge to go to Sunway Pyramid, I mean around here lah. Of course, you have also in I think Subang Parade also they do have. But the last time I went, out of the 3 stations, which is out in the open, in the hot sun there, 2 of them were like, I think not working, not sure, only one was, and it was already taken up. So it's a bit, yeah. So if you put gas, it's easy lah. Gas alone will give you another 400. So you always know lah. Worst case, you can't charge, never mind lah. Just put gas also lah. You know, yeah. So yeah, so that's just my opinion. But that's not the point of our discussion. The point is, if Tava says, okay, fine, I'm already planning now. I'm going to buy a BMW 5 Series, for example. Then what's going to happen? Every time she goes out on the road with the husband or the family or whatever, her eyes will be looking for what? The BMW 5 Series, isn't it? If you see one, then you'll be looking at it. You see one, you'll be looking at it. And
Correct.
you'll notice a lot of it. That's the same thing. Persuasion is the same thing on a simple level, but it's the same thing. You are already in your mind, and then you see it. If it's not in your mind, you don't see it. Right? If it's not in your mind, you don't see it. So just now they gave a lot of examples of how to build trust. For example, somebody goes in and says, oh, sorry, I need to go out the door again. Can I borrow your key? And the person gives you the key and you take it and you come back in. You're building trust. So there are many little things that one can do before the meeting. So I thought that psychologically is certainly very interesting, and that's what I wanted to share with you. Right. So as an approach to negotiation, it's something that you all can think about. The power of suggestion, essentially, right? So if you're bringing up your kids, for example, don't go and tell your kids you're stupid, you're naughty, use all the negative words. The kids will, it affects them, isn't it? But if you try to nurture them in a way and be positive and say that, oh, that was wrong, but, actually you're a good boy or girl and you can actually do this. It's a very positive reinforcement, and the kid's mind, the way they're thinking also changes. So I think that's something to think about, and how you might apply it in different ways. Lam's still there. So Lam.
Yes, I'm still here.
So Lam, if you're coming back to tie all this up, we tie it up with Lam. We tell Lam that, look, if you want to you can use this persuasion if you want to negotiate with your wife, whatever you want to discuss with her or want to ask for something, think of what you say, how you say it, your approach, your pre-approach is very important to set her in the right mood.
Yes, you are right.
Can it be negotiated?
What's it? Dude, what is it?
Can it be negotiated?
Dude, don't tell me your problems. Don't ask me. This is not a counseling session. I refuse to answer all those questions. I'm basic.
No, I just asked.
I'm merely providing a little bit of guidance that, setting the tone setting the tone of how we're going to approach something. If you go and ask your wife something with a very very insistent or fierce voice, and then you're gonna be in trouble and nothing's gonna happen. So anyway, guys, I hope any questions, if there are any questions or any points you want to raise or suggest, please do. Otherwise, we're done. We're good already. We spent a good, I think about 45-50 minutes on this discussion. Yes.
Yeah, this video is not in Xerox, right?
No, but you can get it on YouTube. It's just,
Okay, right. I write, Prof. Thanks.
So what I'm saying is, hopefully, the learning you get these are things you will not be in a negotiation book. That's what I'm saying. As you can see from the pedagogical standpoint, I try to introduce things to raise the level of your sophistication, guys. This is what I'm trying to do, actually, so that your negotiation is not like just what you learn in the classroom, but based on our experience, what we share, and things that I can bring together, your sophistication level in your negotiation goes up. It's different. So another student from another university can learn business negotiation, and you can learn negotiation here with us, but it'll be different. Your approach will still be different. So you will have that little bit of edge, if you like. So yeah, I'm hoping that that'll happen. And especially if I may close by saying that what I've learned from the Tantra, you must know as well. That the chances are the more challenging way, the more difficult way is the correct way. Because human nature, we try to take the easy way. But if you see the difficult way, two things are correct. Remember I said, Shamla, you can go back and sleep. You can do your work after this. You decide. Shamla now susah lah. I know, I'm sorry. Poor thing. She kena, she's on the spot. Lepas ni, Shamla nak tidur pun, I know, conscience.
So lah, if I want to go and sleep also, I'll be thinking about Prof. Ayo, he asked me to do.
Good, very good. Because then you think, you say, sleep or work. Work hard, sleep easy, do the hard thing. So you see, this is the very coming from somebody with a lot of experience, not me, the ex-general of the Malaysian army. How cool is that? All right. So, and the approach lah. Another thing that the books don't teach you is the approach. Like one of the actual tunes that I work with, he never leave anybody angry, ever. Very, very cool. And then, you know, the best part, it inspires people. It inspires people. The person who's not working hard is now inspired. Bermakna, he doesn't have to do anything. He will work hard. The person will work hard. And that's in my opinion, the class act. And it's something that we all can work towards to try and raise the standard. And for some of you, hopefully you gain from that and you think about it, reflect, and then you use it. Okay, guys. So that's it, guys. I'm done for the day. And for those of you who may not have had your coffee or your croissant, if you're French, and I hope you will. Surah, why you laugh so much? You are.
Very good sense of humor, bro. Enjoy.
Yeah, yeah. It's a Sunday morning, lah. So, guys, I hope I didn't make it too heavy for you. I think it's good learning, and you all have been.
Prof, I want
Yeah.
to ask the final exam questions haven't out yet, is it?
Aiyo, it's a very weak question. I'm finding
So early.
in my class, guys, one of the key things I must tell you, if in my class you worry about how to do the assignment, you worry about final assessment, then I have failed. In my class, you don't think about those things. Even the task too, I've given you the guide, so you can do it. In class, you learn, you can do it. When it comes to the final assessment also, I will take care of it for you. Right? It is not your problem, it's mine. If you find it difficult, it is my problem. That's how my mindset works. My mindset doesn't work like, oh, the student weak, lousy. No. If you have difficulties, my problem. So that is why, guys, I'm telling you, if you come from my class, you just follow whatever I'm suggesting, you put in your assignment and you discuss and you do your work, you will do extremely well, right? And in case, despite your hard work, you make a mistake, I will fix it for you as well. I will go back to you. I will put some comments in on what you need to do, right? And some of you have received some comments in the comment section. But so it's your job to check your grades, to see any comments written there and what you need to do, right? If you need to resubmit also, I will ask you to resubmit. It's okay, because we are all here to learn, can we are learning. So don't be too concerned about all those things. When the time comes, I will take care of it for you. Okay. So any other questions, guys?
Thank you so much, Prof.
Good afternoon. So thanks, Arthur, and especially Shaiful, I think, for sharing that. I wish I could have a good chat with Shaiful separately and see his experience. Good experience, though. Right?
Let's have coffee, Prof. Let's have coffee one day.
Yeah. Good lah, very good. Because I think there's actually this type of negotiation, it's not just from me, all of you, I have some experience, but I listen to all of you. I'm also learning. So unfortunately, we don't have that much of an opportunity, but the little that we gain is really fantastic. Okay, guys. So thank you very much. And if everyone's good, I look forward to seeing your next task. You are doing very well already. All right. I tell you, you're doing very well. You're on your way. Just keep it up. Okay. See,
Dr. Roland, I have another question. Do you mind if I have your number? I think I missed your number.
my number.
Yep. Please, thank you.
If you don't have my number again, then you're not on Urox, because on Urox, if you look at the course outline, my number is there, right? So that means again, guys, Urox,
Okay. I'll recheck again. Thank you.
guys, Urox is our go-to. Just remember that. Remember the first time I told you, everything should be on Urox. Everything is Urox. And don't forget, make sure you're on the WhatsApp group. Let's say, for example, let's say for some reason you cannot get or you didn't have my number. You can go onto the WhatsApp group. Tama, you're on the WhatsApp group, right? Shamala,
Okay, the WhatsApp group got it.
Yeah, Prof. Yes.
Shamala's the one who did the work. You better thank her. So
Yeah, Prof. I've screenshotted your number and posted in the group.
that's what I mean. This class, all of you are very helpful actually.
Thank you very much. I've got it.
It's like that, this class, any student that asks some question, they will try and answer, right? So it's just that sometimes if you write to me, the only problem is I'm usually in a class or with one of my PhD students, we are working on something. So, due respect to them, we don't like to be interrupted. But otherwise, please make sure you're on the WhatsApp group. Make sure you go to Urox, look at something, not sure, you can check with your classmates as well. Make some friends. All the people here, really, really, really nice people. I can guarantee you that much for sure. Okay. All right. So I'll see you and I see you next. Bye, guys.